Texas Tech is not number one in the Big 12 in the transfer portal, and BYU is dead last. Ooh. Oh, this is Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this show your first listen every single day. You feel that? Touch yourself. You're sentient. You're alive. You're alive. We can do this. This is the worst Wednesday of the year. The holiday was great. We all got time off. Monday stunk. And then you get to Wednesday. You're like, wow. Is this it? Is this what I do for a living now? You're driving in your car right now, taking your kids to school. Hello, children. You're sitting at work in your office. You're walking to class on the campus of the University of Central Florida, UCF. Can't call it Central Florida. I forgot. I want you to remember, life's good. The Big 12's good. I'm here with you. We're doing it together. I also have to go to work every day. And it's beautiful that we get to share we get to revel in sports, share in this, the love of the Big 12 Conference, from BYU to Texas Tech to Baylor to West Virginia to Cincinnati and Arizona and all schools in between. And we will start with good news for the conference. The transfer portal is being dominated by the least suspecting team, and its name, Oklahoma State. Then, after we cover the top teams in the Big 12 so far in the transfer portal, the Big 12 is dominating bowl season. Well, no, they're not. They lost a bunch of games. You will turn on ESPN. They won't tell you this. You will turn on most national radio shows, not named the Drake Toll Show on Westwood One, and they won't tell you this. I will give you the truth about what the Big 12 just did from a viewership exposure standpoint in bowl season and why it is good. Then, BYU and Utah have combined for, drum roll, please. More like a bongo roll. Bongo roll, please, 2. They've combined for 2 transfers so far in this portal class, which on a scale of 1 to good is not. But here's why that's okay. If you hit subscribe, I get to keep my job. Basketball season, full swing. Yeah. Love it. We're getting into the spring sports. We're in the middle of winter. March Madness is not that far, but the transfer portal is the name of the game right now. And the #1 team in the Big 12 is not named Texas Tech. Let me take you back 365 days. Remember how much younger you were, how sprightly you were on January 7th of 2025? Back then, Texas Tech had 21 commitments out of the transfer portal. 13 of those were 4 stars. They led the Big 12 in that category. No one else in the Big 12 had 5 4-star pickups out of the transfer portal. Tech's 13 pretty much equated to the rest of the conference combined in that category. We were not landing blue chips out of the portal. Tech was ponying up money and spending it very liberally. Behind them was Colorado. Per 24/7, Tech's portal class was rated at 69, nice, 0.54, whatever that means. Colorado right behind them, 42.48. Houston behind Colorado, 36.21. What that tells me, layman's terms, is Texas Tech had a much better portal class than anybody else. West Virginia brought in 53 guys. Oklahoma State, 41 guys. Teams were trying to reinvent themselves. Of the top 5, listen to this, of the top 5 teams in the Big 12 in the transfer portal last year, Texas Tech, Colorado, Houston, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, 3 of those 5, and for different reasons, but 3 of those 5 finished with losing records. It did not work out. But 2 of those 5 were in the top 3 or 4 of the Big 12 conference, Houston and Texas Tech. The portal revamped what they did. This year, it's different. Oklahoma State is still top 5 in the transfer portal, but they're number 2 in the country. Why? They're just North Texas North. You get to Denton, Texas, where the Mean Green are located, and you just keep on driving north to Stillwater, and you will run into the entire North Texas football team, but they're all wearing orange now, playing for the Pokes. And I love it. Look, it is bad for college football. I agree. It is bad for college football that we are becoming the minor leagues. There's the Nevada head coach who came out to his players and said, hey, look, if you want to go somewhere else, we are the school that's going to boost you toward $1 million contract with Oregon. Go to Oregon. See ya, smell ya. We're the pipeline. And that is how these coaches are recruiting at this point at a North Texas. I'm reading the Oklahoma State transfer list. Evan Jackson, Colin Lewis, Drew Mestemaker, 5-star quarterback, maybe the best quarterback in the transfer portal. Terrence Lewis, Quentin Hammonds. It's just North Texas, North Texas, North Texas, North Texas. And you know who else did that? You know who else did that? Drum roll, please. Bong roll. Not bongo roll, not bong. Can't, honor code violation. Bongo roll. Thank you. That would be Indiana. Kurt Cignetti, Big Sig in Indiana. What did they do this time last year? They said, oh, wait a second. I'm Kurt Cignetti. I just came over from Indiana, or I came to Indiana from James Madison, I should say. I'm going to bring all the James Madison players that were really, really good. What did they do? Immediately went to the college football playoff. What did they do from there? Went to the college football playoff again, and this year I think they will win the national championship. So Oklahoma State said, hey, if they can do it, so can we. They got down to like 15 remaining players. Eric Morris walked in and said, hey, I got my Louis bags. I've already got a really good football team, and they're coming. If you want to go, there's the door. You guys sucked bad enough. It's going to be really hard to win with most of this team. Now, Wendell Gregory, him being gone to Texas Tech, like there are a couple names in here I'm thinking, hey, they could have used that guy. But Eric Morris has brought his own bags. They're Louis, and he's doing it the exact same way as Kurt Cignetti at Indiana. If I want to do anything in college football today, it's do exactly what Kurt Cignetti is doing. Oklahoma State, 20 commitments, a 5-star, a couple of 4-stars. They are ahead of everybody else in the Big 12. Texas Tech currently has 8 commits, 1 a 5-star, 7 3-stars. For Tech, their ability to land a quarterback was the number one goal in this transfer portal class. They got a 5-star in Brendan Sorsby. The Big 12 is reloading in the quarterback category after losing a lot of top talent and signal callers going into next season. One of the ways they're reloading is they're just poaching each other's quarterbacks. Texas Tech stealing from Cincinnati. Arizona State is 3rd in the transfer portal ranks. Iowa State 4th. Colorado 5th. That's the top 5 per 24/7 for now. Iowa State, 23 guys for Jimmy Rogers so far in Ames. His goal is to rebuild everything. Rocco Bactiscon, his goal is to rebuild everything for Iowa State. It's going to be hard. He doesn't get to bring in all of Washington State to play for him. They probably wouldn't be that good. Eric Morris, on the other hand, watch out. And surely Texas Tech and Joey McGuire will be in the conversation for number 1 in the Big 12 when this whole thing settles up. Coming up, bowl season was great for us, despite what the national media wants you to think. Locked on Big 12. Hey, Papacita. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is where I go for the NBA season. I'm going to shoot you straight, man. When I took the Westwood One gig, morning radio host, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. You can hear a whole lot of it. Big 12 angle, too, by the way. I was like, I got to watch the NBA now. But the NBA got a whole lot better due to FanDuel's Happy Hour. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Open the FanDuel app during Happy Hour, and it always brings me something new. Boosts, bonuses, surprises. So before tip-off, check out the FanDuel app. See what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, a whole lot of Friday energy. NBA Happy Hour only at FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. I'm turning on ESPN, and I'm seeing Paul Feinbaum. Never fun, right? I turn on ESPN, and I see Josh Pate, and I like Josh Pate. He's been on this show before. But he seems to really teeter toward the SEC now. Like, Josh, don't do this to us. I turn on the TV, I turn on the radio, and outside of the Drake Toll show on Westwood One, I do not hear anybody mention the Big 12. I do not hear the storylines like Ken Seals at TCU. I do not hear the Big 12 being the spotlight of bowl season. And they should be. Well, Drake, didn't you know the Big 12 went 500 in bowl season and Texas Tech lost to Oregon, and it was kind of a blowout. I don't care. It is not about what I get. Oh, please, I'm about to cook. This is a free podcast for you. You get to listen to this for free. You ready for this? It does not matter the actual results of the game. It does not matter what you actually do at the game. What matters is how you attack it from a PR standpoint, from a public relations standpoint. How good does it make you look based on the public rhetoric after you do a thing? If you did a thing poorly, but you can convince the country we are still good, or we did that thing well, actually, you're all just wrong, then you have won in the game of life. This is all just one massive PR stunt, and you have to begin to wrap your mind around that as a college football viewer. The reason the SEC is as highly touted as the SEC is not because the SEC is actually the best conference in college football. It's because they've made you think that by controlling the national narrative, by controlling the media. Hopefully, right now, somewhere deep inside, you're going, oh, that's all it takes is controlling the narrative. That's all it takes is making everybody else a sheeple, a college football sheeple. Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's exactly what the SEC has done. As they said, come, follow me, sheep. We are the best. Then they get killed in bowl season. And somehow a week later, I turn ESPN on again, and it's, the SEC's got Ole Miss in the college football playoff, and Lane Kiffin's really building something big at LSU. And how about Sam Levitt going to Kentucky? Because turns out nobody else really wanted him that bad. So Kentucky became the highest bidder, and they grabbed him, and they're going to suck next year. Nice job, Sam Levitt. Yeah, worth it, huh? Going to be a whole lot of fun for you out there. Here's what the Big 12 actually won in bowl season and what you need to bring to the water cooler when you go to work and your buddy's like, man, the Big 12 sucks. I hate watching the Big 12. The Big 12's terrible. I'm an SEC fan. SEC. Well, one, you can give them scores like Vanderbilt 27, Iowa 34, Houston 38, LSU 35, Illinois 30, Tennessee 28. You can give him those things. You can tell him those things. You're allowed to. And you can tell him this. Per college football zone, the top 10 bowl games in 2025. Number 1, BYU, Georgia Tech. 25-21. A game that was an 11-point deficit at halftime. BYU is the best second-half team in the country, unless they're playing Texas Tech. They rallied to win it. They pick off Haynes King at the end in a thriller of a game where Pop-Tarts were devoured, where Kalani Sitake went Joey Chestnut on a Pop-Tart, and it was epic. The second best bowl game, TCU 30, USC 27. 10-point fourth quarter rally, 3-point win in overtime on a walk-off touchdown. Legendary. Electric. The number 3 best bowl game of the year. Duke 42, Arizona State 39. A loss for the Big 12. A spectacular game overall. They include Minnesota and New Mexico State at 4. Vanderbilt, Iowa at 5. Illinois, Tennessee, very fun bowl game at 6. And then Houston, LSU at 7. That means 4 of the top 7 bowl games in 2025 featured the Big 12. 4 of the best bowl games featured the Big 12. 3-1 for our schools in those games as well. With the country watching, the Big 12 didn't blow teams out. Remember, blowouts don't always equate to viewership. And we're seeing a lot of blowouts in the college football playoff, a lot of double-digit games, by the way. Most of them have been double-digit games so far, or games in which Texas A&M scores only 3 points. I digress. People don't just watch for blowouts. They turn the TV on to say, oh, in the first half, I tweeted BYU's getting killed. In the first 5 minutes, I tweeted the Big 12 sucks because Houston is down to LSU. With 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, I was tweeting how bad TCU is, how bad the Big 12 is, and to fire Sonny Dykes. And they're hate watching. They're tuned in hate watching BYU, rooting for BYU to lose, rooting for Houston to lose, rooting for the Big 12 to lose. And then what happens? Final score, Houston 38, LSU 35. TCU 30. USC 27, BYU 25, Georgia Tech 21. The Big 12 comes back to win, and these people realize, oh, shoot, I just watched an entire game of Big 12 football, and it was kind of awesome. And it kind of rocked. I like that brand of football. And contrary to the narrative, they do play defense. What did you know? They do. And the Texas Tech Oregon game, This is a weird thing I'm going to hang my hat on here, but I'm going to. Was the least watched college football playoff game. It was the least attended college football playoff game. Terrible to have a team from Oregon and a team from Lubbock have to go play each other in Miami. Just bad. Probably not a thing that we should do ever again. And as the least viewed game, right? If a tree falls in the woods and no one's around, does it really make a sound? If a Texas Tech loses a playoff game, but nobody watched it, does it really count? Does it really count? Yes, obviously it does. I'm not going to make a huge excuse here. But I want you to know that the most watched bowl game this year was BYU beating Georgia Tech. And the most entertaining bowl games featured the Big 12 winning. You turn your TV on and, oh, they suck. We hate them. Ha, 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 ha. We're the four letters. We're big, mean TV. We're big TV. And we want you to hate college football from now on. It's broken. Yeah, it's broken in multiple ways, for sure. But just not in the way that the Big 12 needs to be some sort of scapegoat or a conference you blame, an entity that you blame at all. Shouldn't be, at least. Coming up, BYU and Utah. The bottom two teams in the Big 12 in the transfer portal. Oh, throw up my mouth. Locked on Big 12. Today's show is brought to you by Rouge Get Ready. When I tell you that BYU and Utah are number 15 and 16 in the Big 12 conference, you're probably not getting very excited. You're not, it's not uplifting, if you know what I'm talking about. Rouge It is the perfect way to stay ready in the bedroom. Men don't usually bring this up, but maybe we should have the conversation. Feel present, feel confident, feel ready when the moment matters. It's a little mint you put under your tongue, absorbs fast, ready to go in as little as 15 minutes. 3 clinically proven ingredients, and it's easy to understand why 150,000 men have already made the switch. Rougiet.com/LockedOnCollege, RUGIET.com/LockedOnCollege to get 15% off your order for a limited time. Rougiet ready. Feel present, feel confident, feel ready. All of it and more with Rougiet. Even if the transfer portal things are making you sad, Rougiet can help. Rougiet. BYU and Utah. Emergency. Number 15 and 16 in the Big 12 conference in the transfer portal. Oh! Ugh! But here's why that's not all that bad. At least not for BYU. Let me take you back 365 days to January 7th of 2025. The number one team in the Big 12 at that point in time in the transfer portal, Texas Tech. We remember that. Colorado at 2, UCF somewhere in the middle of the pack, Cincinnati at 9, Baylor at 10. The number 16 team in the country in transfers. 16 team in the conference, I should say. Far worse than that in the country. The BYU Cougars. Oh. Well, wait a second. Didn't you tell me that they're number 16 this year and that's supposed to be bad news, right? Like 16's a bad thing. It should be a bad thing and it could be a bad thing unless your name is BYU. It's just not how they win. It's not what they did last year. They can plug the holes with transfers like Bear Bachmeier. They can plug the holes with guys who will compete out of the transfer portal, but they're not going to reinvent their team because they don't have to reinvent their team. Some of the big names out of the portal, Tiger Bachmeier, Bear Bachmeier, Keanu Tanuvasa, Max Alford, Carson Ryan. They had a list, a good list, a healthy list of names that came in out of the transfer portal and competed well for BYU. But it wasn't the crux of their team. They filled the spots they needed to. They lost a Keelan Marion, a Hinckley Rapati. They lost guys that they could have utilized. They lost over 20 players to the transfer portal last year, and it felt a little weird. Why are these guys leaving BYU? Why are these players leaving BYU, and why do we lose 23 and only 13 came in? This is Kalani Sitake building his roster with addition by subtraction or positive attrition. The guys that leave, and I firmly believe for the schools that have good culture, when they see a guy walk out the door, they say, hey, we wish you the best. You weren't the right fit for us. You weren't the right fit for us to win. And so good luck wherever you go, but we're going to win without you. We're going to win in spite of you leaving. That's the mentality you have to have. Take this into account. BYU was 16th in the Big 12 last year in the transfer portal. Again, I've been clear here. That's not great. It's not great because 16 is as low as it goes, but BYU can win in spite of that. Iowa State was at 15. They underachieved. Kansas State, 14, underachieved. Arizona State, 13, underachieved. There are schools that finished at the bottom of the Big 12 that needed the transfer portal more than they thought. And when they didn't have the horses in the stable this year, they underachieved. Now, let's turn the page to Utah. Let's turn the page to a couple of these schools at the bottom of the Big 12 when it comes to transfer portal rankings right now. At 16, the aforementioned BYU Cougars. At 15, Utah, they have 2 commits. BYU has 0, by the way. 0. So that needs to change. You've got to fix that. 0 is bad. Baylor is at 14. UCF at 13. UCF, you've got to do something. Second-year head coach. West Virginia has already jumped in and grabbed 7 guys, some wily 3-stars. They're already trying to work their way up the rankings in the Big 12, understanding what they need to do with Rich Rodriguez and trying to land bigger names, better guys. Last year, they were dipping into D2, which you can do. They were dipping into FCS, which you can do. But West Virginia this year feels as though it has a better opportunity to stabilize, and coming off a year where they beat Pitt and they beat Houston, to stabilize with bigger names and better players out of the transfer portal to try to win. And I believe that is exactly what Rich Rodriguez is going to do at West Virginia. For Baylor at 14, you just sucked. Like, you really, really sucked. And you had Bryson Washington, who's gone. You had Sawyer Robertson, who's gone. You had Josh Cameron, who's gone. You had Michael Trigg, who's gone. You had a myriad of guys to turn to on the offense. Defensively, you have a head coach that was the national championship defensive coordinator for the LSU Tigers, and that is why you hired him after that 2019 campaign. And he has, again, sucked. So what do you do when you've lost a good portion of your team? When a lot of guys are saying, I'm gone. 27 outgoing transfers, by the way. A few of them 4-stars, like Colton Thomason, 4-star. Bryson Washington will be a 3-star. Walker White is gone again. Colton Price, a 4-star offensive lineman, is going to Kentucky. Matthew Fobbs White is gone. Kelsey Johnson, Keaton Thomas to Ole Miss. You're losing talented guys. DK Kalu, DJ Coleman, both going to Florida. Ever heard of Florida? Caden Jenkins is gone. Wes Tucker is gone. This is bad for Baylor. This is bad for the Baylor Bears. For Utah and BYU, though, I told you why it's not bad for BYU. And I'll tell you why it's not that bad for Utah. Yep. Even with John Henry Daly gone and likely going to Michigan to follow his head coach, with Isaac Wilson entering the transfer portal, Christian Thatcher. I mean, there are a few of these names that we didn't really hear this year in Big 12 play that have entered the portal for Utah. The reason it's not bad is because I still believe in the culture and continuity that they have kept. I'm going to say something revolutionary, controversial, because I'm typically called out on Twitter by the idiots for being a Utah hater. It would behoove me not to hate any team in the Big 12 while covering all 16 of them with Locked On Big 12. It would behoove me not. I shouldn't do that. And personally, I enjoy when Utah wins because they are one of the more structured brands in the Big 12. The country knows Utah thanks to the Sugar Bowl win against Nick Saban, 13-0. I mean, there are ways to point to Utah and say, hey, we need to hang our hat on that team being good. I don't like what Mark Harlan did. I don't like that Kyle Whittingham's gone. I think ultimately it is a bad thing for the Big 12 and a bad thing for Utah, and I'm not excited for the Utah Utes going into 2020 without Kyle Whittingham as I would have been if they did have him at the helm, and Devin Dampier and Jason Beck and those guys being gone is bad, but there is continuity in Morgan Scalley. At Utah, they built a roster out of the transfer portal last year, 5th in the Big 12, I believe. They went and got Devin Dampier, and he's, as of recording, he is still there. There is still a very good chance you can hold on to pieces of the nucleus for a team that lost the legendary coach. And the bottom won't fall out entirely under Morgan Scalley, who wants to do it his way. He's not going to live in the shadow of Kyle Whittingham. He's not going to say, how Whit did it, I'm going to do it. I'm a Whit disciple. I'm in his coaching tree, so I'm going to do exactly what he taught me. It's going to be much different from that. If you expect Whittingham 2.0, you're not going to get it, and you have not been paying enough attention to Morgan Scalley and what the Utah Utes are building and doing in Salt Lake City. I don't think that Utah needs to reinvent itself. Landed Marcus Wimberly out of Oklahoma. Lucas Samsula out of Wyoming. Defensive lineman. They've landed 2 guys. That's 2 more than BYU if you're keeping tally in the rivalry. Come on now. Hey, what do you know about that? If I had to choose, I wouldn't want to be 15th in the Big 12 in transfer portal, especially after losing a coach. But I'm not ready to press the red button. I'm not ready to press the red button of doom. A couple of these schools, Baylor, I'm ready to press all of the buttons. Every button. I'm slamming my head against the button. Just blow it all up. Fire everybody. Fire the janitors. Fire the whole thing. Into the sun. Colorado, I have question marks. 4th in the Big 12, a lot of commitments, but who'd you got? Remember, Deion's Portal King. TCU, middle of the pack, 5 commits. Is that good enough to compete for a Big 12 title next year? Kansas State, New head coach Colin Klein, 9 commitments. I'm looking for the first-year head coaches to be up there. Cincinnati, 4 commitments. You just lost Brendan Sorsby. I'm ready to blow it up. I'm punching buttons. Houston at 11, Arizona at 12. I don't mind that. 2 teams that won last year. Yeah, do it your way. I'll follow you guys into battle. Brendan, I'm sorry that I doubted you ever. Willie Fritz, I never doubted you. I was on board preseason with Houston being an 8 or 9 win team, and guess what happened? They did exactly that. I have a lot of deeper thoughts about the transfer portal and what it's doing to college football, the bad that it is for college football. It's not the kids' fault either, man. It's not the kids' fault. It's our fault as society. It's the money's fault. The people that have the money, they want to change it, and it sucks. But for now, the teams that aren't using the portal and winning, like a BYU, proud of you. Pretty impressive. You're still doing the high school recruits thing. And yeah, Bear Bachmeier, Keanu Tanavasa, they're transfers, for sure. And they're good. You have to plug and play. But building a roster that's 90% transfers, I don't know if that's going to work in the Big 12 conference. Maybe it works for Ohio State. I just don't know about us. Hey, thanks for tagging along. Come back tomorrow if you will, please. You hit subscribe. I get to keep my job. This has been, it always will be, Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.